You know what? This is not even a video about R. Kelly or anything like that, because I don't want to even summon any spirits, and I don't think anything about the situation is controversial. There's nothing really to it. I don't think you can take two sides. There's two sides to this kind of story or anything like that. Essentially, for those who haven't watched it, it's really scary, and it can shake your spirit. Like, you might think that what could it be about, or what could they possibly show you, but honestly, I did not sleep today. I know a couple of people that haven't slept and have felt a bit unsafe and a bit shaken by it, and generally I'm shook. I'm shook to the point where I will question if I'm scared of men, but that's a different thing. Essentially, it's about a man who has manipulated power, weaponized sex, weaponized money, everything to kind of manipulate young women just in general of any age, but mostly minors, and has been protected by a system and a community illusion of a man who has become a god through the usual means, sport or music. And these things elevate mostly our black men to a position that makes them somewhat a national treasure, a community treasure that cannot be touched, even at the expense of the black victims that they project harm onto. Cool. And when I say he's a sick individual, I'm not even giving him a clinical diagnosis, because that would alleviate him from responsibility. That would say that it's beyond his control, let's medicate him, or let's do this, and that might help him, or because he was apparently molested when he was a child, therefore that is okay. And it's not the case at all. There is no excuse for that behavior. If he did want to redeem himself or show some sort of remorse, then he could have made movements to do that. He could have tried to stop what he's doing. Number one, apologize, and to try and change his life, because at the end of the day, there is an element of us that would always want to forgive people, if you see what I mean. But he doesn't. He just wants to deny it and just maintain a facade of a career that doesn't no longer exist, but to some people is still held as, the king of R&B, as if to say that's more important. But cool. So I didn't even want to talk about him too much. I just felt for context, for those of you who are not aware of what's going on, that is basically what that is. What it did make me think of though was about how society has facilitated a sickness amongst our men. And this is not to say that there's no other sicknesses amongst genders or other types of people. That's not the case. And I feel like anyone who wants to jump on that, that's their business, and it shows that they're just being immature. But especially in this context, I do feel like there are a lot of people that could become R. Kelly. There are a lot of people that are R. Kelly. There are a lot of people that can become R. Kelly. And I'm not even talking about the rich ones. I'm talking about the guys in our neighborhoods. I'm talking about the teachers in our schools. I'm talking about the brothers and the fathers that we have. I think it's very easy for them to develop a R. Kelly complex, because even in normal conversations that we have with them now, you can start to pick out certain mantras or certain lifestyles that they live by. Like when they say like money over everything, for example, or when they talk about, or especially musicians, when they talk about how they change their girls like they change their socks, and they talk about they were with one girl on Monday, another girl on Tuesday, and it all seems like it's just flow and fun and games, and it's just it's just laddish behavior. But again, if we make society, if we view society in the eyes of men, of course these things are not going to seem big, because it's not big to them. They're not talking about themselves, they're talking about other people. And the more they are told these things, and they make it a mantra now, they made it a thing of like, it's the bro code almost. That's how people end up dying. That's how people end up being manipulated. So I do believe that there's an element of this that we need to learn from, and that we need to nip it in the bud. R. Kelly too was a young boy. R. Kelly too was someone at one point who was innocent. There was a time when he probably felt vulnerable. There was a time where he probably couldn't imagine doing that to somebody. Or there was a time when he thought, actually, I can contain this behavior. This behavior can be contained, because I want to go that far. And what happens, you just keep going. Boundaries are picked at. Your hangers on, the people around you make you feel like you can do anything you like. It's only a woman, it's only a black woman. Look how we end up. So I'm less so concerned about R. Kelly, in the sense that it's uncontroversial. We need justice. For the record, mute R. Kelly, like that one, for the record. But what I'm concerned about in my own personal, and the girls of course, and the victims that are still currently battling with the trauma, and the ones that are still under his thumb, literally, I'm praying for you, and I'm praying for all of us to come together to make sure that you get the justice that you deserve. I think people do need to not make the situation so far away and remove themselves. I think, as I said, young boys need to start having these conversations now. I think it's no longer a thing where you let it slide and you go, that's mad, that's mad. When someone says something, I'm not trying to say you necessarily go, yeah, cheat on her or manipulate her or finesse her. But when they say things that are finesse-like, do you say anything? Like, or even when they don't tell you, do you ask questions? Or do you even just put feelers out there and be like, this is how you treat a woman? Do you? Or what we're trying to blame it on? The dad that weren't there. Because if the dad weren't there for you, the dad weren't there for your sister. But who's finessing who? Who wants to break the cycle and who wants to replicate it and maintain it? There is a responsibility that you have at a certain age as well to review your life and say, what do I want to break? Or else I can't give you a theory. I can't give you a social theory that's going to remove you from responsibility. I just think that men do need to take account for this. You need to have the conversations. You need to watch these documentaries and talk to each other and say, you know what, boys, let's talk about our treatment of women. Let's make that a topic of discussion. Because I just don't see how else we're going to do it. It's women that keep watching these documentaries, women that keep suffering. And it's like, well, we can't keep watching these documentaries and being the victims of it. It doesn't benefit us, really. Like, what's going to happen? We're going to learn how to become more safe or not make the same mistakes. But perpetrators are perpetrators. They're going to find something to come with you at. So I do believe that men just don't take offense to things. Like, there are some conversations I agree that can be very much like exhausting and like a bit petty and a bit like, you know, it's a bit extra cool. But when I'm talking about these small things that add up, you do need to be like, yo, okay, cool. I don't care about the image associated with this. I don't care about, you know, I don't care about what people think. I don't care if people think I'm a feminist or whatever it is. I just genuinely want to be the best version of myself. And I think you need to have these conversations now. Stop running. And I was thinking, there's a bit in the documentary where it talks about like music videos and how he hid in plain sight. In his music, he'll talk about girls or underage women or etc. etc. And I was thinking, bad guys do that though. And it's not an attack on the music industry, because honestly, I think it's everyone. But for example, let's use an example. It's like R. Kelly and them, man, we're talking about women and like how they, whatever they do with them, and like, you know, meet one, have sex, whatever it is. And just the general attitude towards women, less so what they actually did, but more the attitude towards them, make it feel like they commodified a woman and made it feel like it's transactional. All it is sex. All she's worth is sex. They don't even make they don't even distinguish between other women and certain women. Even though I don't think you need to, but I feel like they don't do that to make us feel like, okay, it's literally like all women to them don't matter. Cool. So I just feel like when I hear the now UK music and like grime videos or like rap videos or whatever, and I'm like, it's all good. I know that you've got a formula that works. I know if you make a song about how you swapped Ashley with Katie, and that, you know, you get every girl every day of the week, she wanted this from you and you got it, and she thought you loved her but you didn't love her, you clap, you think it's a bar, and men think they're finesse, and sometimes it can be lighthearted, cool. But when you think that every song of yours is about how you don't care about women, is it not strange that every song you have, or 85% of songs you have, you mention a woman? And nothing to do with commitment, just to do with how you mistreated her. But then how you also manipulated her into thinking that she should love you through your flaws because you're you, and love means it's unconditional. So in your music, not only do you disregard women, you teach us how to make us feel sorry for you, whilst you're not even trying to work on your flaws, but we should still love you for your flaws. But God forbid our bum isn't big, or God forbid our breast isn't big, or God forbid, you know, I don't know, we step on your shoe, you're going to remove us and switch us with another woman. So I feel like, wow, so you want to train us to offer you some sort of, you know, empathy that it won't be reciprocal. That's why I feel like it's weird to me. And I'm not trying to say R. Kelly's far from what the boys in certain industries are doing, of course, but I do believe it grows. You can't judge R. Kelly's year 30 with these boys chapter 25 age, not even in the game. These people are in the game, what, 3-4 years? You've got time to develop into a madman. That's what we're saying. We're nipping in the bud. We're not saying you are this, but we're saying we've got time. And not just for you, we've got time to become corpses that have become corpses. We've got time to become the girls that will die at hands of partners. We've got time. So if we think we're enjoying now, there's still time. There's still time for us to be harmed. That's why we're saying we want to nip it in the bud now. And this is not an attack on you as a gender. I just genuinely feel like we need to be honest now. and stop waiting for you to have a daughter before you start being paro, or have a sister or a mother before you start. Those ones for me, I can't even bother to go into it. Those are just the Twitter conversations that you just gotta let slide, because you know you can't really dissect shit like that. Like you just gotta, sorry I shouldn't have said that, but you know you just gotta let things slide. But I do feel like there's a definitely something wrong with the things that we talk about, and you must question as well yourself, why is it only women I talk about, or drugs or whatever it is, but why is it only women most of the time? Why? Or violence, why is it only women? All the most things that people talk about is, let's say, violence, drugs, women, or something else. I don't know, I feel bad for saying this. I know probably people like, you're acting extra, but cool. Now, not just grime and rap, by the way, bare music. So let's leave that for there. But I'm talking about for the black community. Let me just talk about our thing, because let's make that clear before people say it's not only black people who talk about. Cool. But for our community, out of all the things I listed, only one thing is about a human being. Women, it's a human being. You can make any song you like and objectify anything that doesn't live. I would say, okay, let's just but a human being, oh Lord, I just think it's so strange. And for all your portfolio just to be about that, it's strange to me. It's strange, and you got to change. No amount of flow, no amount of lyrics is gonna make me overlook the fact that you are a disturbed human being who has an issue with women, who needs help. And what I don't want to hear is that music isn't a form of expression. Through your music, you're being healed by your past. It makes you feel like, what's on my mind? I go through this stuff, so I want to talk about it. Music isn't a counselor. You know that, right? Music you can express, but music doesn't heal you necessarily. You're still gonna have to do the work and literally go and see someone and deal with it offline. You can't tell me that because I hate women, I'm gonna talk about women, and somehow now I'm healed. Who healed from that? Because R. Kelly's been making music and he ain't healed from a situation. He's making gospel music and he's doing devil's work. So come and tell me how it's healed. It's not. It's rubbish. And we need to stop saying, I know we want to protect the industries. It's new. It's a baby. In a sense where it's a baby in terms of it being like international. We understand we want to protect it, but not at any cost. I cannot come and die for grime. You see, I love grime. I love rap. I love all this. Trust me. All music we love. We love music in general. But I should now come and die because I want to uplift these people, or because I feel like it's the black man, it's the system that should now allow you to do rubbish. No accountability has now destroyed communities like this. We just need to wake up. I'm sorry, there's no other way to do it. I haven't got time. Or do you want to wait until you have children and then we all start going, oh my God, it's urgent. It's not, it's been urgent. How is all our music about this? Our young people are just taken in subconsciously, especially because, you know, when people talk about molestation and like when people develop some sicknesses, it's also subconscious. Not all the time it has to be something big. It can be subconscious. So it's a subconscious thing of you're affirming these things, and not just affirming it, you're desensitizing yourself to these things. So by the time you're 15, you've heard 50 songs that say don't fall in love, or love is not it, or get your money up, or don't. It's like it's the money that makes you crazy too, because the money is the thing that will protect your madnesses. You see, all the times you try and avoid love, alright, cool, but once you get the money, it will be worse, because you can buy your protection and buy your stupidity and buy silence. That's why I feel like, be careful with your whole secure the bag at any cost. You don't need to be a slave to money. Money will come. You can get a job you can always get a job. It's not that deep. But be careful of the character that you're building, and we need to be careful to stop feeding it. Stop feeding it. Are you that addicted to these things that we can't even just have a full stop and say, you know what, it's enough now? You know, I just think there's comes a point where let's be mature about it and be like, okay, it's scary. And I think as a woman, it's so scary to know that these things can happen. In 2008 and 2019, full stop anyway, but in 2019 that these things can happen, and that you generally feel unsafe. And any relationship you enter, you have to think about, could this person kill me? Like, honestly, it sounds like I'm being extra, it's not. Could this person end up being someone who then wants to do me harm, or tries to explain away the harm they do to me the fact that they love me, and know that if I go and talk to his friends, or knowing that, or talk to his dad, or talk to an uncle, that they're all gonna be like, you know, that's what boys are. And then at your funeral, they'll all be there looking like, oh my God, she was a great person, God forbid. Yeah, just not, I don't want to make it long, but that's just one of the things. And moving on from that, I haven't really touched on these in a deep way because I think there's so much to talk about, and I don't want to offend people in such a like heightened time, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to this. But I want to talk about feminism, for example. Obviously, I'm a feminist. I believe in the equality of the sexes. I don't think we're the same. Cool. But I don't even need to say that to kind of as a disclaimer. I feel like we, you know what, women and men are equal. Cool. What I do think there tends to be an issue with sometimes with the feminist rhetoric on Twitter, and just social media in general, is that sometimes people want you to believe that your true freedom and true liberty is you being able to do whatever you want to do, no matter what it is, and that will measure how happy you're going to be or how, you know, progressive we are. And I just think that's fundamentally a toxic message. I feel like it's a toxic message because you end up chasing ghosts, in the sense that you are going to chase the ghost of the patriarchy. You don't want to replicate that. But if you make that a standard, you're going to just say women should be able to do the rubbish that the patriarchy is omitting. And that's not the game. In the midst of us trying to find our equality, you need to understand there are also a system that we live within that doesn't recognize that, and also would put us at danger. So the more we overexpose ourselves to certain things, we can be at risk. So I'm not here trying to tell people, you know what, do what you like, be a groupie, overexpose your chest, or do that kind of stuff because it's your right as a woman. But in the context that we live in, and knowing that ain't no amount of body exposure or, you know, just recklessness has ever empowered a woman. I don't see a woman here today who has been empowered by showing her chest. She can make you feel like she's empowered, but how? Either she's going to be a slave to the Instagram anyway, because she shows her chest once, she's going to have to keep showing it and, you know, making sure that you're a slave to that. And it's not me that likes breast. Of course, obviously, not everyone is heterosexual, so of course I understand. But really and truly, who are you showing your breast for? And why is it that the things that they like about women, that's the things that we're going to be reckless with? I've never seen people encourage you to, you know, never seen people who really love you be like, oh no, go and read a book, or go and do this, or, you know, don't do that kind of stuff because it's not good. And in the midst of feminism, there is still dignity, there's still integrity that we need to uphold. We don't need to just replicate what the patriarchy is doing. We don't need to fear discipline. We don't need to fear obedience. We don't need to fear structure. And we don't need to fear integrity. We don't need to fear that. But because, do you know what I mean? I feel like we don't need to do that. And in a documentary, of course, I'm not blaming anyone apart from R. Kelly for what they did. What I do recognize, though, is that there's an element of young women who are misguided by other young women to be around certain people, whether it's your mum, whether it's a friend. They make you believe that you can be around certain things because you want to be a singer, or because, you know, by any means possible, empower yourself, attach yourself to anything, because at the end of the day, no one can judge but God. You know those things that people say, those lies that people tell you, and we all judge you. That's that. Like, who are deceiving? You'll be judged. Maybe I won't tell you, but you're going to be judged. But that's just the way it is. That's how normal cognitive development works. You have to judge people. Sorry. But it's an element of, I'm not going to say that it's feminism per se. I want to say that's obviously the part feminism, but I do feel like I do see it in some feminist rhetoric where it's like, do what you want to do, and that is feminist. By default of being a woman, you should do what you like. I'm like, no, I don't think it's that case. I think there's an element of character, and there's something about character, and there's something about purpose, and there's something about dignity that we need to attach to feminism as well, and be like, you know what? Does this benefit you in the long run, psychologically, mentally, physically, etc.? So if it doesn't, then I don't see how it's going to be feminist. I don't think how we've got more productive women doing the things that stem from recklessness. I don't really see it. That's a different topic. I don't know if I've explained it properly, but basically what I'm trying to say is that for me, feminism isn't about just being able to do what you want to do. That's nothing to do with feminism. That's just reckless. That's human recklessness, regardless of what gender you are. That's reckless, because patriarchy is not about men. The patriarchy is about men doing what they want to do with women, and it being tailored towards them. And patriarchy isn't a movement, it's a system, it's an oppressive system. So why would feminism want to have the same definition as the patriarchy? A movement and a system shouldn't have the same definition. That means one is probably oppressive. And of course, this is not all feminism. Feminism is a broad range. I'm just saying in terms of like what I see online sometimes, and encouraging women to get themselves into positions of danger, and sometimes, I guess, vulnerability, we need to make sure that we're telling each other the right thing. We need not fear structure. We need not fear like submission to a greater cause. We don't need to just run wild and believe that's our human right. I believe in equal opportunity. I believe in you being able to do what you want. I don't think you should be stopped for doing what you want to do within the law or means. But recklessness, no. And recklessness doesn't associate with the R. Kelly girls at all. That's something different. I'm just talking in general. But what is reckless, I do believe, is that the people around them, the young girls, were, I won't say necessarily encouraging them, but they thought that these girls were kind of like goals because they were near R. Kelly. And that, for young women, you know what I mean, when you're around certain powerful men, people want to think like it's goals, and you start thinking, yeah, I'm goals, and because I can do that all in the fact that I'm not as dumb as the other girls, because you know what I mean, I'm not as dumb, or it's not as easy to manipulate me. So there's all these kind of things I feel like women do need to start thinking. Not necessarily the girl who was manipulated, but people around her do need to start waking up. Mums and fathers and that needs to start being like, alright, cool. Like, how are we going to raise women to do the right thing and to not just feel like recklessness is the way forward, but our men. No one talks to our men the way they talk to our women about social etiquette. No one talks to our women like they talk to our men about social etiquette. Women will be told what to do, what not to do, how to keep a man, how to keep a man. A man don't have to change. The worst comes to worst, because we might want a man to be able to be self-sufficient and to be able to feed himself. That one is too much to ask in this generation. Calm. But that's it. And that's just the human side. That's nothing to do with him being romantic. That's just, as a human being, I think you should just be a productive human being. Who's talking to the boys? Is the Brotherhood really talking to the boys? I'm not talking about how much money you're going to make in 2019. That one, calm, like whatever. I'm not talking about necessarily even religion, even though it should be a good moral compass. I'm talking about attitudes towards women, specifically your attitudes towards women. And who wants to be the guy that steps up and says, you know what, guys, we need to change. And I'm not talking about what you project online, but also in your real life. Why is it so difficult for you to see women not as human beings? I know people talk about porn. People talk about all these different things that have helped shape their views of women that they recognize is wrong. But now we recognize it's wrong. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I beg you, with the same urgency that some of us use to call out racism and knife crime and you know, all these other things, let's use the same energy for this. Let's not make it a thing where girls try and solve the issues that we don't inflict on ourselves. Let it be a thing where now 2019, let boys take emotional responsibility for these things. Let's hold them to account. Women, let's not even feel like we need to entertain certain things. I don't think we need to entertain that. Like, if there's someone there who's a bit troubled and doesn't feel like he can give you what he needs and he's going through his own, he needs to grow, then leave that. We don't need to fit into their criteria. Sometimes they need to fit into our criteria. And I'm not talking about the superficial things of like money and that. I don't talk about that. But do you know what I mean? If we keep allowing men to do the picking and to do the criteria creating and to do the judgment and to that, then we're going to live in a world in their image, because whatever they say jump, we're going to jump. Then we're going to try and exert influence after. They're going to be like, okay, stay in your lane, sis. Start thinking about, what do you want from a man? If we all want men who are emotionally intelligent, then you're going to have to get emotionally intelligent at one point, or know that singlehood is okay. Like, we don't have to attach ourselves in that way and that we're good. And because it's not about putting ourselves before men, it's about putting your future family sometimes before men as well. It's also about putting your current family, don't put them in danger. But it is about yourself as well, to a degree, when it's like, you are worth so much, you don't need to be doing this. So the things are quite a video that's moved from side to side, but I do believe there's a lot of things that we need to talk about and think about moving into this new year, and just being like, okay, cool. No one likes to be told what they can and cannot do. No one likes boundary. No one likes accusation. No one loves that. Trust me, I'm telling you now. If someone steals and you call that person a thief, someone go, you can't call them a thief. It's because back in the day when they were younger, their dad used to steal money, and then now they've grown up and now they sit in their own and they can't. No one loves it. You can call someone a victim, but you can't call someone a villain, because no, we don't live in a society where, and this is what's happened. I'm not trying to say villains can't be helped. Villains can be helped. They can seek, they can seek help. But that's what's happened. We live in a society where no one wants to blame anyone. I get it's part of the new, revolution, social revolution, trying to update our words and make sure that we say what we mean and mean what we say. But I do believe that, listen, we need to do it with caution. Listen, there's people out there who are bad. Keep it moving. Like, there's no time for that. And we need not to be so full of low self-esteem that we allow it to happen, but also be so lost in the social source that unless so-and-so endorses this or says it's bad, I'm not going to think it's bad. But because my bro, who's supposed to be my brother, I'm actually scared of him. Like, I want him to like me. I want him to think I'm the hardest guy. So I'm not going to say nothing that he'll upset him or challenge him. That's why I feel like so many guys, you're actually not going to lie. I won't say you're a wash, but I do feel like it's a bit weird how a lot of you are just controlled by what the man them say. Same with girls. Like, a lot of us are controlled. So unless it's people endorse, you can't do it. Unless people talk out, you can't talk because you're scared of backlash. But listen, 2019, let us not be of the world. Let us not move to the beat of the world because we want to fit in. Fitting in is not the goal. Fitting in is easy. Fitting in is lifeless, lacks spirit, and lacks intellectual. It lacks all that kind of stuff. Fitting in is minor. What we need to do is contribute to the world effectively. Be purposeful. Be sensible. Use your reason. Use your rationale. Use your faith to get things going. It's we're gonna live a life and say, yeah, basically, I'm out of my friends of 5, I'm girl 4. You should be known as girl 4 because your name, obviously, you didn't live up to no name. Just call yourself girl 4 or boy 6. I'm boy 6 of the group. When boy 5 talks, then I'll talk. But last bit, right? What I find so interesting though is that I'm not even bashing men at all, because I love my bros. I just feel like I'm talking as a sister who's normal, as a concerned sister. But again, I don't think I need to explain that for people who have sense. It's not about attacking people because everyone feels attacked these days. But it's weird how when it comes to like knife crime or race or harassment in the workforce or even hip hop, or grime or sport or whatever that people listen to, and I know it says black, I'm black, it's more about black things, but this goes across races, right? People can really dissect it. They will use their dictionary to come and give you, wow, this is wrong because they'll even give you bibliography and notes and footnotes and tell you why it's wrong. When it comes to gender, all of a sudden they have no opinion, they don't know. I feel like, a whole you. If I ask you now what J. Cole's lyrics mean, my guy can give me essay, as in tell me what the implication, the literal meaning, the analogy. But it comes to sexism or intersectional feminism, I don't. That's how I feel like. All this selective intelligence, you need to keep it away. Of course, people can have areas of expertise. That's fine. Like, of course, that's fine. But I'm just saying, all this selective analytical application, I find it so weird. Like, when it comes to things that you're interested in, or doesn't require you to be emotionally attached to it in the same way, or have responsibility, it's like, it's like, oh my gosh, you can dissect it, but when it requires you to be responsible as well, it gets scary, and you call it an attack. And this is why it's not an attack on the boy. There's so many things I can attack people on, so, whether it's my own self-reflection of myself, women, whatever it is, society. But I feel like you deflecting doesn't change the fact that you've contributed to someone else's upset, and that we do generally need to start thinking about these things more and more. Or what's going to happen is that more black women will die, more black women will be depressed, more black women will live a life of upset, and black men will continue not to understand what's going on. The black woman will maybe turn away from the black man and say, you know what, we've tried, but it's at the expense of my life. I can't help you in a way I want to help you or help us, so I'm gonna have to make this a movement about black women and not race or not whatever it is. Same with feminism, and not make it about women but make it about black women, and then leave the black man to his own devices as he faces a system that doesn't love him ultimately, and he remembers that he actually isn't the lad culture that got him through, or the patriarchy don't love you. They're still going to dissect you by race. And what are you going to do whilst we're out here with the sisterhood making making self-sufficient institutions, teaching our next generation of young women and men, because at the end of the day we can still procreate when we want to, opt into the system when we want to, but withdraw and not have the baggage. When we make the next system, we're going to try and build them in the image that we want and try and, you know, give them mentors and stuff like that, but of the ones that we trust, give them mentors. But black men, you'll ultimately be left alone, and you'll realize the role we played and the unconditional support we gave you when we could, and all we asked for was some accountability, some transparency and respect. And because we asked you for a small bit of labor, which was too much, you didn't want it and you forfeited everything else, and then we're here. I don't want that to happen. I love my bros, every single one, but the time comes where it's like, you're a grown ass man. You're not 20 no more, you're not 25 no more even, you're growing up and up and up, and there's only so much we can do, there's only so much we can shout. Listen, I'm not the type to even shout, like this one I had time today, but really and truly, I can't come and upset myself because I'm trying to teach a man. That's not possible. But for all the women, for the black people, for anyone actually who watched it and were moved by it, like, I probably feel you, and I feel like it was such a touching way to I don't know, to put the documentary together. It was really moving actually, and I know I'm shaken, like literally I'm shaken. Like, I don't know if, I don't know, I just feel like it's something that women might want to just offload onto each other when they next see each other. But I just pray that we can get through this as a people all together, and just be like, you know what guys, there's an element of this I feel like you need to take responsibility for. We can't change, the thing is, we can't change what's going on as women on our own, because we're not inflicting it all the time. And again, this is just strictly to do with like the R. Kelly situation. It's not necessarily to do with everything, because in different contexts women are perpetrators, and in different contexts women need to, so this is just one, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know, it's hard. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope it made sense, and of course, no offense should be taken in this video. If I said something out of turn, or you know what I mean, then I apologize. It's not anything to upset anyone with. I just want to make sure that we are being honest and we're saying what's on our mind. And a lot of people are too scared to say it, because number one, you can't say certain things these days, and also they don't know how to say it or when to say it. So I guess, yeah, I didn't know I was gonna make this video, but yeah, this is just a video about that, and I hope, yeah, I just hope that it made sense. Thank you all.